YouTube. So a very common question that I get asked or I see asked in groups is, my so-and-so is blind, what is the best hobby for them? Or I've gone blind, what is the best hobby for me? And my answer is, what do you enjoy doing? That's kind of like me going up to somebody and saying, what's the best hobby for men? Or what's the best hobby for 5-year-olds? And I don't mean to mock the question, because it totally makes sense. You know, someone's just recently lost their vision and everything's changed and different, and they might not know what is out there and what isn't out there. Totally understand. The fact is, honestly, most hobbies that you're already doing, you can probably find a way to modify and do it. Now, if your hobby is being a race car driver, okay, no, you're probably gonna have to find something else. But maybe, you know, if your hobby is being a race car driver, maybe it's the thrill you like. Maybe you get into tandem skydiving or something. So find out what it is that you already like to do. And if you don't feel safe doing it, you don't feel confident doing it, find out why it is you like it and start thinking about what other hobbies give you that same feeling. Let's take gaming, for example. Believe it or not, I am a huge gamer. I always have been. There are lots of accessible games that totally blind people can play, or people with visual impairments can play. You've got to find them, but they're out there. Don't be afraid to go join groups, join clubs. Maybe you really like pottery. Maybe gardening is something you want to do, or maybe sports. Maybe you think, well, I'm athletic, surely I can't play sports now. There's sports made for blind people like goalball, or you can do things like judo. I personally do karate. There's a whole range of sports. Baseball, there's a sport called beep ball, which is played with a ball that beeps. Maybe you really like soccer. They make soccer balls with bells in it. Maybe you think, I don't need any of that, I want to go play on a normal soccer team, in which case I'd say go for it. Go try things, experiment with things. The biggest thing is, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to have a rethink. Sometimes you're going to try something and you think, well, this is a great idea, it's bound to work. And it doesn't, and it blows up in your face. That's okay. That happens to non-disabled people too. They just somehow like to forget that. I know, it's true to me too. But seriously, if you really like reading, maybe audiobooks are something you could get into, or maybe you really want to go back to reading. Learn Braille. Hadley, I have a video on here, but Hadley offers a free program for people who are blind or visually impaired who want to learn Braille. Cooking, go ahead and take cooking classes. Some stuff are going to need to be modified, but try, experiment. And if you can't figure it out, don't be afraid to ask other blind people or visually impaired people, hey, how do you do this? Also, on a more practical level, there are training schools for people who are losing or have lost their sight that you can look into. The ones that I know of off the top of my head are offered through the National Federation of the Blind. If you're in Indiana, a company called Bosma, I know, did offer one at least a few years ago. I'm not sure if they still do, but it's worth looking into. The biggest thing is, don't assume that just because you're now blind, you can't do something related to that. Just sometimes you gotta think out of the box. Maybe you really, really like painting or drawing. Try it. Who knows what you'll come up with, or try a new art medium. Honestly, the sky's the limit. So yeah, I mean, that's honestly my advice is, try new things, don't be afraid to fail, and think outside the box. And as always, if you have a topic or anything that you would like for me to cover, then feel free to email me at blynddde1@gmail.com.